Welcome to Reset to Healthier Relationships, Sunday nights at 9. I am Coach Glenda here with Mr. Carpenter, my course manager, and we have created this format as a safe place to discuss trials, struggles, and victories in past and present relationships. This is not a one-size-fits-all open discussion. There is no topic too minor or major that we cannot discuss. We encourage everyone to participate and speak their truth. This is a non-judgmental zone, so talk as much or as little as you would like. And before we get into our topic for for this evening, I would like Mr. Carpenter to tell us a little bit about himself.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Hi, Dr. Johnson. I see you. Hey, Mildred. I see you. Hey, Ava. How you doing? And iPhone 4. Welcome, everybody, tonight. I got to start out by saying I want to take a break and say first, thanks to all the fathers. I want to say Happy Father's Day to everybody. So everybody, yes. Happy Father's Day to all the dads, all the bonus dads, all the fathers, all the grandfathers, all the stand-in fathers, all the uncles that you think they were your father, all the men that unconditionally love children all around the world, and we see them as father figures. So I want to say to them, Happy Father's Day, and I ask that God continue to bless and guide them through the things they do for their family each and every day. Peace be with you. All right, now I am Rufus Carpenter, and I am glad to be here with Glenda on this Sunday night at 9. Glenda, I am so glad that you put this Sunday night at 9 together, because this is a chance that we can get with the community and we can share some things. Again, my name is Rufus Carpenter. I've come to this space a little different than most. My background started as a poor child of a family of 14 kids and a 3-bedroom house with only 1 bathroom. And occasionally I had to sleep with 4 of my siblings. And if you know anything about occasional bedwetter, you understand what it is for the essence of the human connection. Okay, I was married 27 years to the same woman. And if you're married 27 years, to make that work, you learn a thing about communication. You learn a thing about trust. You learn a thing about compromise. And you definitely learn communication. And these are the things not so much necessary for a successful marriage, but these are the things successful to help you understand the human connection and what a human relationship is all about. My story didn't stop there. I joined the United States military, which is the United States Army, and I was a retiree, as a matter of fact. And in my 20 years, I was trained to be what's called a human relation, race relation, and relationship leader, where I had the responsibility of going into a unit that had any kind of relationship problems and be the first one on the scene. And I would do what's called initial intake. And I would decide how we were going to allocate the funds or resources take to solve that problem. So I have a diverse background in relationship and relationship coaching. So I am very happy to represent the male perspective since it's Father's Day. And Glenda, let me turn it back over to you.
Well, thank you so much. I was going to wait actually until we had more people on the call, on the Zoom, the Zoom call before I said my Happy Father's Day. But, I'm glad you beat me to it, because tonight is not over, okay? All right, so we're doing this part 3 open discussions that has been going on for the past 3 Sundays. And I tell you, it has been a hot one. And I was like, oh my God, it blew me away last week, because this unfamiliar person chimed in out of nowhere. I don't know if he's on the phone tonight, but his name is Mitch. But he really took us to another level at the last 15 minutes of the Zoom call. So we do want to finish up, because it was a very good topic, and we want to finish all of the areas that we had planned to discuss. So we can make sure, if you have any questions or if we need to go over something again, we're more than happy to. And also, I want to encourage everyone, please, if you have anything to say, feel free to say it once again, this is a non-judgmental zone. We don't want anyone to get offended by anything that anyone says, but we want everybody to be able to speak their truth. Okay, we don't want to feel like we can't talk because someone's gonna, lash out at us, because we're all grown. So we're back on our topic again tonight, is how can you still love them when it's not long enough and or wet enough? Would it be worth it? I tell you, this one was a good one. I tell you, Mr. Carpenter, I don't know who you spoke to prior to bringing up getting this topic together, but you did it, okay? So I don't want to do a long recap, but I know that just from the topic alone, when it says, would it be worth it? I know that when I spoke on the topic the first week, I said, you have to have more in your relationship. You have to have more of a intimate or love connection with your partner or your spouse than just having sex, because once the sex is gone, what else do you have? And if you're hooking up for all the wrong reasons, you got to take into consideration when life starts to play a role in your life. How they say, when life is lifing, you have to prepare yourself. You never know when someone's going to get terminally ill, or when someone's going to, have these, roller coaster rides, these ups and downs in their relationship where they can't perform or their body parts don't function like they normally would. So the last couple of topics that Rufus and I wanted to cover before we start another topic for next week is seeking professional help. What options would you think that you would need to seek? What options come to mind when you think of seeking professional help for your problem if you're having issues in the bedroom? So I'm going to leave the floor open for anyone that want to chime in. And I know I said seeking professional help, but sometimes even when you seek professional help, that's not always your number one go-to. Some people they try Google. They talk to maybe a close friend or relative about maybe making some suggestions. But I just want to hear from the audience tonight, when you think of seeking professional help, what would be your number one go-to? What would you do? Not as much as, going to a physician as your first go-to, but what other options are they? What else comes to mind? Go ahead.
Mildred, I would think like a pastor or a unbiased person, or somebody that seems like they are married themselves and they're getting along, or they seem to be okay. Somebody that look like they have gone through, so that they could, give you some sound advice. But somebody that's in and out of relationship, their own selves are going through a divorce, or you see them crying, I wouldn't seek advice from that person. But someone that seems like they have their head together, or seem to be getting along well, I would talk to that person. Not necessarily saying that I would do what they say, but I would feel comfortable about talking to them.
Well, that's good, because that is important. You want to make sure that you feel comfortable with the person that you're talking to about your personal problem, because you don't want to be judged about her stuff ain't working right. Her plum, what's going? Yeah, you don't want anybody to critique you or make you feel lesser than a person, a female or a man, because you're coming to them, first of all, you're being vulnerable, and then also you're being open and honest. And you don't want to talk to someone that's going to prejudge you off of what you're saying, or go home and tell somebody else, and then the whole church or the neighborhood start talking about you. So you're absolutely right. I would agree with you. I saw someone else light on. Felicia, did you have something to add to the response?
Marshall's buyers have a very particular set.
Are you on mute, Felicia?
Oh, sorry. Sorry. I thought I was on mute. I've had counseling before, years ago. None current from my TV down. I've had counseling done before. But sometimes when you get counselors, they can be, male, women. It's hard to know. Unless you're ready for the criticism that comes with it, you gotta be prepared to, take the good with the bad. And then, and having counseling, I found that many of the, I've had to one counselor, then I changed to another counselor because I wasn't, it just wasn't a biased conversation. And so they didn't have a good relationship themselves. So they're guiding, they're giving you guidance, but they're not in a good space with their own relationship. They're not either not in a relationship, they're not married, or they're just not, you know, so it's challenging to see a healthy relationship with that. So it varies, you know. So I've gone to singles counseling with singles and with other singles, like single ministries, where the conversation was, you know, can be pretty broad, but a lot of single ministries typically women go to, not men. So so the conversation can get, you know, you can have conversation there as well, where you go to singles ministries, which is what I did and with my church many times. So yeah, so I mean that's my take on counseling. I don't know if it works. It may work for some. Again, it didn't work necessarily for me because the counselors that I had didn't appear to have good. They weren't good examples. They weren't in good, healthy relationships themselves, and so I just couldn't find. It was hard to follow, like Mildred was saying. It was hard to follow their advice.
I had a question.
Both of them do a podcast on relationships every night, every Sunday night at 9.
Hey, Avis, and we can hear you.
Felicia, I had a question. How did you know that the counselor's home life wasn't as homey as it should have been, and she was counseling you?
Well, you get to ask questions of her as well. It's not just you asking questions. It's not just her asking you questions. And so, you know, because it's the initial introductory. And so kind of like how you all come on in the beginning about your home life. So,
okay.
So that's kind of how the initial conversation starts out. And so you already know that the person, when you spoke to the counselor, that, you know, I spoke to the counselor, I already knew that she had been married and the relationship, how the relationship had went. So that's kind of how the conversation had went. And so, but you're guiding someone who's dealing with relationship issues. And so that sometimes just wasn't, I mean, I was, you know, like you said, it's like talking to someone who's married in a relationship, and they appear happy on the outside, but they're miserable on the inside. And so you don't want to have to listen, you know, you want, you say, oh my God, that's they've been married 30 years. Oh, they look so good together. Everything looks so nice. And you get home and all hell's breaking out, you know. And so, but everyone thinks, they're giving off the appearance that everything is good, you know, right. But it really is not. So, but then, you know, but from looking on the outside, you would feel like, oh, I can maybe ask them how they're doing, or how they keep it going, and how have you, because it looks good on the outside, right, but in the inside of the household, it's not good. They're in one room, he in another room, he on his phone, you know, he's doing this or she's doing that. So there's no communication. That's, you know, that, but when you're on the outside, you know, it looks different. So but that's kind of how that was my experience with the counseling that I did. But actually that was some years ago. I haven't done it since, because it is expensive. It's not something that you can, you know, can just, you know, it's something you got to prepare for financially as well, because it can run you, you know, quite a bit of money outside of your normal, something like most jobs, you know, offer you so many times to go for counseling. And then there's other times where after the 4 or 5 times is up, then you got to pay for whatever expenses that. So it can get costly. And so that's something you want to invest in, because can't get no healing in 4 sessions, so.
Right, correct.
Yeah.
And I know that some jobs, with your health benefits, they have those EAP benefits or employee assistance program benefits, and they will cover. Sometimes I've seen it cover as many as 8 visits, for free. And then you would have to pay a copay thereafter. So utilizing your health benefits, if you need counseling, is always a plus. At least you got at least 8 visits free. And even if you feel like you're not where you need to be, or you're not at a point where you're comfortable to let the counselor go, you just mentally prepare yourself. I'm gonna have to start paying for these visits going forward. But Felicia, you made a lot of good points in regards to the counseling, because I know that I've sat in a couple of marriage counseling sessions, and it was at first, the first couple of times, it was a learning experience, because I was like, oh my God, did he just ask them that? Are you? I said, oh my goodness. Now, when I got married, I did not have marriage counseling in the beginning, but during the marriage, when all hell was breaking out, I think we went to one counseling session together, and he stopped coming. So, it takes 2 when it comes to counseling, unless you have a personal problem. But when you're looking at the person that you're talking to, you do need someone to have a non-biased and non-judgmental opinion, so you can feel as if that you are comfortable with the responses that they give. But you got to also remember that there's no perfect relationship. Everybody has problems. I mean, especially when you already know in advance that the person that you're talking to, their house isn't clean, and they're trying to help you clean yours, it's like, you got to understand, people already know how to destroy something. So if you know how to destroy something, usually how you not destroy something, all you're doing is trying to educate the person on the other ways of not destroying it. It's like the opposite. So if you already know that cheating is going to destroy your marriage, the best thing not to do is you just don't cheat. Or if you know that you're using the household funds for all the wrong things, like electronic, taking expensive vacations that you can't afford, and then your wife or your partner says, well, did you pay the mortgage? No, we just came from that wonderful trip. We went on this wonderful trip to Hawaii. What? We went on a wonderful trip to Hawaii, but now we don't have a roof over our head. We're about to get evicted. The house is about to be foreclosed on. Are you kidding me? No relationship is perfect, but we learn from each experience. So even though you know that the person that you're talking to, their house isn't clean, but they can definitely give you some pointers in regards to, how you can jack one up and not jack it up. So whatever you're doing to jack it up, don't do it no more. Don't do it no more. So, Mr. Carpenter.
Yes, ma'am.
Lisa just took the mic from you, and I know that you itching to chime in. I know you are.
Well, first I want to tell everybody, first I want to say, hey, I see you, Ava, I see you, Angela, I see you, Yvonne, I see you, Sharon, I see you, Annette. Hey, I see you, Fire Tablet. Hey, I see you, Felicia. Hey, you guys, I want to thank you guys for coming back, because you're the show. So I want to first thank you for coming back, and I want to definitely thank you for dealing with a tough subject, and you carried yourself very, very respectful and very mannerful. Because when I first saw that word, is it long or is it wet enough? I said, Jesus, we got an issue here. And you guys have done a marvelous job over the last 2 weeks of bringing that home in a respectful way. So I appreciate you for that. Now, let's talk about what Glenda just asked me to talk about. We're talking about seeking professional help. Now, when we talk about seeking professional help, it's mental and physical. We're talking about mental and physical. And Mildred brought a major thing out in business and in counseling and in relationship counseling coaching. We call that modeling. When you look for somebody that's successful in that field, or somebody successful doing something you want to learn from, or you want to pattern yourself out there, You go find somebody successful. You find somebody that's doing well in that area, and then you learn from them so they can reduce your learning curve. And great job on that, Mildred, bring that up. Now, Felicia, you hit on something very, very, very near and dear to my heart. When you talked about when you went to counseling, now, first, you got to realize something, everybody on the call, you got to realize something. Counseling and coaching are two different animals. Now, you got some counselors that do become coaches. Glenda and I, we're relationship coaches. The difference between a counselor and a coach, because when somebody said that their life is jacked up, so how are they going to counsel you? You got to realize a counselor is looking for triggers in your past, and they help you sort through the issues. Not so much about them, it's more about you. They're trying to go in and look into your past and see what triggers you to your behavior right now. They want to help you sort through it. That's a counselor. Now, the coach on the other end, like Glenn and I, what we do is say, we try to first assess, where are you right today? Where are you right now? And then we ask you where you want to go. And we become accountability partners to get you from where you are to where you want to go. Now, your childhood could be all screwed up. That's not what we're in it for. We're in it for where you are, where you want to go. That's the difference. So when you look for a counselor and their life is screwed up, they may not have the same triggers you have. So it's a different ball game. Everybody kind of understanding what I'm putting out here a little bit? You kind of get it?
Yes, I understand it, but I also believe, because I just attended a big symposium on that.
Okay.
And even the counselors there,
Need a
and
counselor.
the whole panel of counselors said every counselor needs a counselor.
Correct.
Themselves.
That's
and
true.
I found that to be true. I guess that's my main point.
And you're
So
correct.
for me,
You're correct, because they're human just like you. They got problems just like you got problems.
just like me. For instance, now I have had 2 counselors, and my insurance was taken care of. It was built into my medical program or whatever. But I found, and I enjoy both of them. I respected both, but I found myself, it appeared like, because I asked questions, I
Right.
found myself counseling and helping them. Now, my counseling that I was seeking from them was medical.
Okay.
And for some reason, when they would ask something, it would trigger something, and I would answer it, and then I would ask them. And they were like in tears. And so I found myself, the majority of my session, which was supposed to be medically for myself, I was counseling the 2 counselors.
Were they married?
Yes, both. No, one was married.
Okay.
One was married and one was not married. She had a weird relationship with this guy, and she called him, well, he's my Tuesday lover or something.
Okay.
I can't remember, but it was strange. But, she had to face the fact, because I asked questions, and I guess when I would punch a button, it sent a trigger. And she told her truth, and,
Right.
and you just had to call it. I had to call the joker out, and she knew it. But, see what I'm saying? So every counselor does need a counselor.
Angela, I got your background, if you don't mind sharing. What's your background? And the reason why I asked that, because some of the things you said in your just output just a few minutes ago, you brought some important cues out that we notice about coaching. So can you tell me? Do you mind sharing a little bit of your background?
Yes, physical education.
Okay.
To the physical and mentally challenged students, and physical therapy. So I got some medical and some physical.
Okay. Anything in the church at all?
Sunday school teacher, minister.
Okay. And I felt that by when you were talking, because you have something called discernment. And your discernment, sometimes things are put on your heart to tell people. And sometimes people you that come across you are meant to come across you. You're meant to minister to. So, and I could tell some of that when you were talking. So sometimes you're at the right place you're at the maybe the wrong time for yourself, but you're the right time for them.
Okay.
And something you have to depart on them. And that's why it's very important that we realize that this forum like Glenda has here, you're on the line. And right now, I think we got about 15, 16 people on the line right now. There's little things that you're going to share tonight that's going to help me or help Glenda or help someone else on the line. Because you are anointed for certain purposes in the world. God has put gifts and stuff inside of you. And you don't know who you're going to help. So I remember our forum is where 20 of your girlfriends are in a living room and you guys are talking about relationship topics. Some things you might have been through and survived and came out on the other side are some things that I may be going through now, but by listening to you, you can save and compress my time. Where you went through it 8 years, I might can go through it in 24 months. Because I modeled what you did and I listened to you and I followed your footsteps. You left breadcrumbs for me to follow. And that's what the magic of Sunday night at 9 is all about. So this is so when you get a chance to share something, because sometimes I know when you're there behind the scene a little bit, you don't want to say anything, or you say maybe I should say it or maybe I shouldn't say it, and you kind of hesitate. Some of those urges that you have is something being dropped into your spirit, into your soul. Share it. This form, we're Glenn and I just average, everyday people like you are. Share. And this is why we need your comments on a lot of things. Because right now we're talking about seeking professional help. And there's two sides to this thing. There's, well, three sides really. The physical, the mental, and the emotional. I think you guys covered the mental part pretty well. I think that's covered. Now, the physical, which is the sexual and the intimate part, we haven't touched that yet. Now, I'll be transparent. I'll jump right into the medical and the physical part of it. And I'm sharing this because the same Kool-Aid I'm trying to get you to drink from, I'm drinking from it too. So I myself had struggled with ED. And everybody know what that is? We're talking about
Erectile dysfunction.
Yes.
So I struggled with that myself. And I sought medical attention, and my world has changed tremendously. Modern medicine is awesome. It's awesome. There was a time I was a sad person, a very sad person. But I went to the doctor, got the counseling. They did EKGs, X-rays, and MRIs, and they found out I had a problem with my pituitary gland. The part of your body that does the male hormones and stuff, I had a problem with that. They operated and did some things, and they gave me some replacement therapy, good as new. So that, if I didn't know, if these things weren't shown to me, or if I was kind of foolish and said, hey, look, what it is. Hey, and especially if you're in a relationship with somebody, you owe it to yourself as well as to them. Let me hear your comments about that, ladies. Let's talk.
Well, I got a question before you open it up. Now, did you seek professional help for yourself because you noticed that you had a problem, or was it something you and your partner said you needed to seek help for? Because some men, they don't like going to the doctor.
Well, my partner was telling me I was having problems. My partner was saying it ain't working like it used to work. So a man can only hear that but so long.
Okay. All right.
And that's what made me go ahead and ask for the help.
Okay. All right.
So
Well,
I can say my partner, because my partner said, "Hey, look, you got issues."
okay. And you didn't feel offended, and you didn't feel
I felt
embarrassed.
offended.
Oh,
I felt offended. I felt real offended.
okay.
Right.
Okay.
To be
Okay,
honest.
but okay, so that just happened to be a pituitary gland. It was kicked off by pituitary gland dysfunction
Correct.
that needed attention. And you
Correct.
can only do that through the medical, okay? But
Correct.
what I am hearing and seeing, because I'm constantly seeing commercials on the TV concerning PD.
Mhm.
Okay,
ED.
it's a part ED. I'm sorry.
You
It's
go-
a part
Is that a
of.
new one?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about. Okay. It's a part of the aging process. Okay.
Correct.
It's very normal. And
Correct.
that's why when we are in the dating process, one of the red flags we should get is when your spouse, whether it's male or female, are not willing to do the self-care and going to the doctor on a regular basis. So see, the problem would start right there. But
Right.
so it's very good when a man, because most men, I'm not going to say all, but most men, scared of the doctors, don't want to go, da 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 da. Knowledge is power, because if you know, then you go and do something about it.
Yes.
You can ward off a lot of wasted time, or something that could have been addressed much earlier and would not have had you have gotten to the extent where it is at the time.
I agree.
So
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to make sure. But when you are in a relationship, and it's not just sexual, it's the intimacy, because you're building things up and you have a good relationship. And if I could say, well, honey, it's just not worth, whatever, because of the time you have invested and spent with one another, and that intimacy portion, it has become deeper, then they don't get offended. We just go and check it out.
Correct.
And we walk it out together.
Right.
And that's just like for a female. If you ain't using it, it's gonna get drier. My doctor just told me, honey, you ain't using this. You need to go and get some replenish. I said, well, what is that? She says you need more moisture. This is natural. Let's try the natural stuff before I put you on something stronger. And replenish is just a little, you buy a box of it, it's an applicator, and you insert it and squeeze out the stuff every 3 days, and just stay more moisture. Because the older you get, a part of the woman's aging process is you get drier. She says, and if you ain't using it, what you do have, you're going to lose that.
That's the truth.
And shop is going to close up. So a part of being intimate, if your mate let you know, well, honey, it's a little dry. Got to do this, got to do that. Go to the doctor and check so we can get the appropriate things.
Right.
And things can be so much better.
Let me ask you a question, Angela.
Yes.
Now, when you spoke with your physician, did she tell you what would happen if it wasn't addressed?
Yeah. It gets drier and it closes up.
And that's pretty much all that she said. It doesn't cause any other conditions, infections, or.
Well, she didn't say that.
Okay.
I get the annual, and she was just saying, you may want to use this.
Okay. Now, Mr. Carpenter, let me ask you a question. All right, come in, sir. I see you checking the board. Mr. Carpenter, I know you said that you did feel some type of way when it was brought to your attention. So I want to ask you this. Did the doctor ever tell you if you did not address it when you did, what would be the consequences or the repercussions of you ignoring it? Because as a man, as it has been stated on this call, men don't like going to the doctor. A catastrophic event has to happen, or Jesus has to sit on the edge of the bed and say, sir, it's time. It's time.
Well, the doctor told me if I didn't do it, I was gonna go blind. He said I was gonna blind. He said the pituitary gland, it's on the optic nerve. And he's saying that I would go blind if I didn't have the surgery. So it wasn't a choice, too much a choice after that. But what I want to, and I'm glad Angela shared so much of her story, because there's two sides of this equation. Because when you start getting older or start having medical problems, how do you handle them? Now, the men have, ED has been around forever. And this is not a new development. And I don't think same thing about moisture. It's a new development. It's not a new development. Now, men would try to go to their friends. Hey, bro, what you got, man? What you got working? You know, back in the day, used to be Spanish fly or all kind of stuff. And we used to try all this backwood stuff instead of going to the doctor. We would go to our friend, hook me up. You know, and we wasted a lot of valuable time, and we put our partners and ourselves through a lot of things we shouldn't have put ourselves through. It would have been hard for us to go to our wives or girlfriends or lovers or whatever and say, hey, look, babe, you know, we didn't know how to communicate. And that's one of the things we covered that was the second part of this, our first week. We talked about communicating. That communicating part is very, very important, because if you try to address it by yourself without including your mate, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard.
Yes, it is. And same thing for a woman who may be having low libido, a lower sex drive. And maybe your spouse is much higher, and so you're getting annoyed because of that. Then that's a concern too that females need to address medically with the physician, because there are things that they can take. There's creams that they can rub behind their knees and other things. So you can, choose what works best for you without side effects that would be uncomfortable to you. And so you want to, grow in this thing.
Somebody else want to chime in?
Yes, I want to give an opinion. I don't know.
Hey, that's you, Mitch.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Welcome back, brother. Welcome back.
I don't know. I may have grown up on another planet, but running to the doctor, there's an attack on sexual action, and you keep running to the doctor. Our problem, well, a lot of men problem, they do recognize and they do things about it. I don't, you guys be saying guys don't want to go to the doctor. You don't have to run to the doctor. My background is science. I teach quantum physics. I'm a biology teacher. I'm a retired military person, and I work at the CDC. Awesome. The problem nowadays is potassium nitrate. It's how you eat. It's what you eat. You go to Africa, man, people are having sex until they die. Hot wings and Oriental food are made to destroy you. So if you eating sodium nitrate every day, your penis is not going to get hard. Your vagina is not going to work. You eating hot wings, and do you know what teriyaki sauce is? Do you know what lemon pepper is? That stuff destroy you. But you run to the doctor and you get a pill. It's going to destroy you even worse. Watermelon is Viagra. You don't know how to eat it. If you go to a place in Ghana called Kumasi, they have all type of food that you eat, and it give you what you need to have sex. But all of this running to the doctor, it's because you don't know how to eat. It's because you don't know your body. You know your body.
Are what we eat, right?
No, but no, we're not what we eat.
Okay.
What I'm saying is living a long, productive sexual life. And we're not doing it, then we're complaining. Even with the relationship, look, you know what's wrong with you. You know you have the wrong partner, or you know the partner's wrong. If you got 10 things wrong with you and you correct one thing, all those other things will fall in place. But I think that we've been educated in the wrong place. We live like a brown ape. We live like white people. We are Europeans, and we hadn't figured that out yet. You have to stop living like white people. If you run to the store, you don't know what the ingredients in what. You have to know. go to the farmer's market. Quit going to the store. The store has more poison in it than, I'm letting you know, it's the worst place to shop. So what I'm saying to you is that going to the doctor, getting a pill, going to get shot, doing all this crazy thing, all you're doing is destroying yourself. You're going to have a heart attack. Not only are you going to have a heart attack, you're going to have a stroke. Because medicine in the long term, when you get a little older, it's going to be too much and you're going to die of a stroke or you're going to die of a heart attack. When you got food out there, the food is right there. It's right in your face. We eat like crazy. I bet you right now there's so many people lined up to eat how we never run out of chicken. If I'm in Africa, if I'm in Accra and I say, and it's 10 o'clock at night, and I say, can I get some chicken? They say, oh no, we ran out. We had 300 chickens a day and we ran out. You don't run out of chicken in the United States. That food is meant to destroy you. Women are not having babies. People are not having sex like they supposed to. A man realized when his penis is not as hard as he don't. This lady ain't got to tell him. You know that. But if you're around the wrong people, or if you're in the wrong group, you don't know. You still reading a book, thinking you got it, and you don't. When you can just probably talk to some people from the other places that I'm not saying doing holistic. It's really not holistic. It's just natural. You go to Jamaica, they can help you out. They got what they call tiger nuts, and people like blend them up. You'd be surprised. These are natural things. But I'm done with that. But I just think that we need to learn how to live like what we were born to live like. We have a 9 DNA series. We don't tap into it. You have no idea what it is, but we live like white folks.
Mitch, you said some good things, Mitch, but the problem is you're a little more advanced than a lot of us will probably ever get. So how do the regular person, the everyday person like us, how do we find, or how do we get educated? How do we begin to do that search?
Well, I think when people start talking about it, you got to quit thinking that person is crazy. You got to realize you got to get rid of anything which, well, it's a process anyway. When you talk about potassium nitrate, that is that's on the periodic table. That's almost man-made. That is designed to strip you. Sodium nitrate designed to strip you. Now you have to know which food is in. You know what's at Burger King. You know what's at McDonald's. Why everybody going to McDonald's and Burger King? Why everybody stopping at these wing shops?
I can tell you why, because of advertisement dollars. That's what's being advertised on TV.
Well, let me tell you why they do it. Because they are slaves. They don't want to go and get their own chicken and do what they got to do, cure it, clean it up, do what they got to do. You know what I'm saying? You can go to a fish market and where they got fish swimming in a tank and choose that fish. We go to the store, get a fish in a packet that's probably been sitting up for like 30 days with packed with potassium nitrate and come home and cook it and think that we got decent food. So what I'm saying is that how you get better is to understand what you're eating. If you don't know what you're eating, I'm a Muslim, right? So one thing Muslims do, we teach. When you go to mosque, you learn, they teach you. If you're a Christian, they don't teach you. You eat chicken, you eat food that's gonna kill you. But when you go to the mosque, they tell you how to eat, what to eat. They teach the women how to cook for their family. They teach the women how to cook for their children. They teach them what to hurt them, what to not to hurt them. So all my life, my mom and my dad been teaching us what to eat and what not to eat. So we know. I mean, it seems like it's just a natural thing with me. But also my friends, people. I hang around people like me. I don't hang around people that that's not like me so much. But when I do, we're able to grab them and bring them together. But I believe that you got to find people that doing something different than you. But if you continue to find people that, European, because we are European, believe it or not, we live like them because that's all we know. We always open up a book. Look, you don't need a book to understand. Now, of course, to get through this society, you do have to go and punch your ticket and get your degrees. Yes, I've done that. But you got to realize science, quantum physics has a lot to do with breaking habits. And when you break habits, you do them based on your brain. Your brain, everything is in your brain. Sex is in your brain. Church is in your brain. Everything you do is in your brain. And you have to know how to go and get it. And I can't just sit here and tell you because it's a process. But I can tell you this, there's a guy online named Bruce Lipton. You can start with listening to Bruce Lipton. He can help you. He used to work at the CDC. He got booted out because he was telling people how to live a long life. You know, CDC think you should die around about 77 or 84. They think that's the time you should die. But Bruce Lipton is telling people how to live a little longer than that and how to change their mind about what they do, how they live. But like I say, it's a process, sir.
Hey, Mitch, let's do this, Mitch, because you got a lot. Seem like you got a lot to share, and let's carve a space out for you to share some of that, because right now we're in a limited time, and we've got a couple more things that we got to hit tonight. But what I want to do, if Glenda, drop my phone number in the chat for me, please, and she's gonna drop my phone number in the chat and give me a call. And what we'll do is we'll see if we can just have one of our Sunday night at 9, and that session you're talking about right now, because you've got a lot of stuff to give, sound like to me. And there's someone on this call that may want to actually get it from you and get it firsthand, and you can help. But tonight, I think we'll do you a disservice tonight if we try to distill it into what we're doing tonight. And it won't have the same flavor if we just carve out some time for you to have that. All right, Glenda, putting my phone number in the chat. If you get my phone number and give me a shout at your convenience, and we'll set that up. Okay? Are you agreeable to that, sir?
Yeah, but you got to give me narrow it down and tell me what you're looking for.
Well, when we talk, when you call me, we'll do it together if you don't mind.
All right.
You put my number in the Glenda chat already for me?
Yes, I did.
Thank you very much.
Can you see it, Mitch?
Yes, I can see it.
All right, thank you very much. Hey guys, we're gonna move on because we're getting close to that time, and I don't want us to get out of here without getting this wrapped up. We don't want a fourth part of this. We want to end it tonight. So right now we kind of covered the professional help pretty much. Now we're into the part where it says the importance of patience and understanding, and then we've got a couple questions we'll get through, and then we're gonna kind of bring this home a little bit. Glenda, you want to do that, or you want me to do that next part, or you want to do it?
You can go ahead. You could take it from here.
Okay, the importance of patience and understanding. And this is very, very important, because you got to realize something. When you with a partner, you guys have become one, but still there's still two people coming as one. So there may be some things that you understand a little different, or you may not be at the same vibration or the same level. So it's good that you can realize that, and you can sit down with your partner and say, hey, let's talk, let's understand. You might need more time, you might need my help. Have anybody in the line have covered something like that in a relationship, or know pretty much what I'm trying to get to here?
I just wanted to say something about the scripture that gives clarity on that. And it asks us a question. Okay. How can two people walk together except they be in agreement? So that's the perfect question asked.
Each person has to understand their role. If they want to walk together, if each person understand their role, they can do it. But if you're gonna go outside your role, you'll never walk together.
Right.
Yes, that's correct. And I went to church today at a small country church in Georgia, and a lady was asked to read New Testament, and she read about a man being the light. And when she said about the man being the light, she said that in her opinion, and she said that God put the man as a light, but a lot of things happen in America that kind of destroy or try to destroy the Black male. And she wanted to just say how important it is that she thought the Black male was to the Black community. And she wanted to do her part about lifting up the Black male in the community, since it was Father's Day. And she brought up some very beautiful points. And she said that society has tried to shift roles. They tried to invert the role of the Black female with the Black male. And she had some very valid points. And we're not gonna go through all that tonight. But what she said is that, and she even talked about projects. She went back to, we talked about the projects in the old days when she said, well, past days of America, where they put families in projects, and they told the woman that if a man comes in her house, she and the man will get put out. And that the man a lot of times was slipping in through the window and leaving before the morning, so they wouldn't get found out. Because they got found out, they'll be put out of the house. So, and she brought up some things like that, and that's like, wow. So that really made me think and made me realize that I saw that with my own eyes. So I'm 70 years old. And I remember when people were being put out in projects because of that. So right then, women were being taught, hey, look, you know, you got to have the guy sneaking in the back door, in the window at night. So a lot of this stuff is kind of messed up. So we have some work to do in the Black community. The role of the Black male and Black female. So Mitch said everybody got to know the role. We have to make sure that role and that thing is very, very clear. Anybody want to comment?
You talking about welfare right now. Welfare word is part of one thing that was destroying the Black men. But you know, as the Bible go, God put man in charge of the woman in charge of the children. The man lead. The man should always lead. But right now, you know, when the feminist movement came about, it kind of started switching roles. Now you have white people are putting women ahead of men, and it is destroying the very fabric of the Black community, because some women will say, I'm a strong Black woman. Yep. No woman should say that. You know, I have a daughter. You don't say I'm a strong Black woman. When you say you're a strong Black woman, you're not a strong Black woman. What do you mean by you're a strong Black woman? Everybody has to know their role. Now, when I was in the military, I never served with a female because I was 11 Bravo. But as soon as you put a 75-pound rucksack on a woman's back and she got to keep up, she can't keep up. Once you shoot and bullets are flying, you know where she go. So women can't compete with men, and men can't compete with women because women can do things men can't do. So therefore, everybody has to understand their role. So white people right now, you know, you can look at television, you can see you got women saying they don't know what a woman is. You know, it's crazy, you know, and they just won't, I don't know, they're just destroying who they are, and they're destroying the Black men. And Black men are getting tired. So when Black men, those people kind of hardly ever get married either. You know, they say they're a strong Black woman, they marry a man, they destroy the man. The man either turns to a beta man, and he lose who he is. And he's not able to lead. He's not able to lead his family. He's not able to lead little children in the community. So if everybody understand their roles and realize what white people are doing, maybe we can counteract it. Now, I know I'm saying white people, but let me tell you something. I don't live my life based on white people, because if I did, I'd be broke. You know, I don't do that. I live my life. I work with white people and Black people. Matter of fact, I have 5 white people working for me. So when I say white people, it's not that I'm racist. I'm thinking about, I don't say racism all the time. I'm trying to say what's fact and what's true and what I see.
Okay, I think iPhone was wanting to talk and Glenda wanted to talk. iPhone, you had something you wanted to share, iPhone?
There's 2 iPhones.
One was lit up a few minutes ago.
Oh, okay.
Okay, somebody talk other than me and Mitch.
Well, Mitch is correct, but it was a plan that was set up.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just follow Mitch thing. I don't consider myself racist either. That has been set up by the white man because they're out of control now, because their greatest fear is that there's too many people of color, and that God said, and he will honor his word. He said heaven and earth will pass first. He said the first will be last and the last will be first. And that prophetic word has come down through the years, and God has proven himself, and that he's raising up people of color who were considered at the bottom. And that's their greatest fear. And that's why they're hanging on to the machine guns and the R-15s and the, what's that thing that they just added to the gun where you can kill about 300 people with one shot?
Bump stopper.
A bun stopper. That's right. And so that's what's happening. And like Mitch said, and you've said, Rufus, we have to know our place as a woman and as a man. I feel that I'm a strong Black woman, but I cannot do what a man can do, and I do not try and compete with the man. I know my role. I get in my lane, just like the Holy Spirit. I stay in my lane and I work my lane. And if you stay in your lane as a male and we work together, we're going to get to the finish line together.
Amen.
And that's what a relationship, a good relationship will do for you. You get in your lane and I get in mine, and we're going to get to the end of this together.
Awesome. Now, we're going to the last 5 minutes. Anybody haven't spoke tonight that want to say something before we start bringing this home? Going once, going twice. All right, Glenda, you want to bring us home? You want me to bring us home?
Well, I did want to comment. I know that we're pressed for time, but when Mitch had made a comment about our roles, I was like, what? I was like, my role? I've been doing this thing by myself for a long time. But then as Angela chimed in, she did state, she pretty much said what I was feeling and thinking to myself, because I'm not so big with the role. I'm like, okay. But at the same time, I look at it as if when a woman, I try not to compete with a man, because I'm not going to do an oil change. I'm not going to change my tire. There's a lot of manly things that I'm not going to do. I will pay somebody first. But as I think back on a lot of our previous live discussions, one of the key things that one of my major takeaways was your selection process. You have to make sure that the individual that you connect with during your process of selecting your mate, you got to make sure that you select the right person, because if you're at that point in your life and you want to finish the race together with someone, you want to make sure you're connected to the right team. And whether it's a two-party team or whether it's a whole group of you want to make sure that you're connected with the right person. So it's not so much for me knowing my role, which I do know my role. It's just that I haven't had to be a woman or be vulnerable like I should have been, because I've been wearing the pants and the dress and the bras and the briefs all at the same time. But Mr. Carpenter, I know that you're looking at the clock as well as I am, so you could go ahead and bring us on in.
Everybody, again, I appreciate you for coming back to the Sunday night at 9. We really appreciate your comments. You guys have really made a difference for our community, and I'm so happy to have you here. This is something that Glenda decided that she wanted to put out in the community, and we're growing this thing. We've got some wonderful things coming up towards the end of the month in July. So stick with us and you're going to be amazed. Remember that everything that we do on Sunday night, we put on YouTube Wednesday. So tonight's will be on Wednesday. It's been a powerful last 3 weeks. You guys brought a lot to the table. I appreciate you. Please, please, please be kind to each other. Peace be with you. Good night, everybody.
Happy Father's Day to all the fathers.
Happy Father's Day
Happy
to all
Father's
guys,
Day. Good
strong
night.
men.
Good night.
Good
Good
night.
Good
night.
night. See you next week.
Happy Father's
Yes.
Day, Rufus.
Yes.
Good night.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Happy
Who was that?
Father's Day.
Who was that?
Miss
That's it.
Ann.
Oh, hey, Miss Ann. I see you. I see you, Gigi. I see you, Angela. I see you,
Yes.
Sharon. I see you, Yvonne. I see Fire Tablet. Hey, glad to see you guys here. This has been an interesting series. You guys have really brought out some great things out of me and Glenda, and we appreciate it. Until next week.